Hey, what's going on YouTube? Garnett here. On my channel, I've been dedicated to showing you guys quality tools from countries like Germany, America, and even Switzerland at times to give you guys a glimpse of what's available out there. But today, we're headed to Japan to have a look at some of the nicest pliers I've ever wrapped my hands around. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe if you're not already and hit that bell to be notified of all my latest uploads. So here before you is two pair of pliers made by a company called Fujiya. And at this point you might be wondering why I actually have two different brands of pliers sitting here. So I feel a little bit of an introduction is necessary. So here's the skinny. This is the 700N-175 from Fujiya Tools, and this is the ZS80-175 from Victor Tools, which Fujiya makes. You might consider that they are the Toyota to their Lexus or the Honda to their Acura, with Fujiya Tools having been in the pliers business since 1923. Even though there are some pretty obvious similarities between these two pliers, there are some glaring differences as well that I'm going to try to point out. Starting with the similarities, and something I've come to expect when it comes to Japanese hand tools, is the sheer quality and craftsmanship. I mean, from the moment you pick these tools up, you realize a lot of time and effort went into crafting this single pair of side cutters. If we have a look at just the surface of the 700N, it appears they are ground polished and laser etched with the product information. When you run your fingers across the side cutters, it feels completely smooth to the touch, as it appears they have applied clear coat to all the ground areas on the side cutters, which will add a little to the durability of the pair. In fact, the only blemish I was able to find up here is the discoloration where they went ahead and hardened the jaws. As for the rest of the cutter, they have a ton of features that I'm going to run you through right now, including a crimper that's integrated directly behind the pivot point. They have literally no visible or felt play between the joint, yet still being able to maintain a smooth operation. They have these handles that have a pretty interesting shape, but their shape does allow you to maintain your grip on the plier or cutter, as well as being able to open it pretty wide. As you can see how these handles bevel out or bow out here, but then they come back together, and that just allows you to open your hand up, letting you open that cutter pretty wide. Speaking of the handles, they are going to have these high density rubber orange colored grips that have a robust set of dimpling found on the outside of them. And those dimples do their job to provide you a good amount of traction. I doubt these will even be able to like slip accidentally out of your hand. They additionally have the brand name featured in the end of them and these holes for hanging from a lanyard. These are going to be the high leverage version of their diagonal cutters, which means literally that the pivot point is placed closer to the jaws to give you that additional leverage. And speaking of the jaws, let's see how they cut. So here we are in the back of the service van, and I have three other diagonal cutters to compare against the Japanese Fujiya. First up is going to be the KNIPEX 74-250. These are a 10-inch pair of diagonal cutters made in Germany, and these are additionally going to be a high leverage pair just like the Fujiya. Interestingly enough, if we compare these directly to the Fujiya, these have a good amount of meat right there between that pivot point and the jaws here. Looks like that might be, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, a little more. And if you compare them directly to the Fujiya, it looks like that's a 1/16 of an inch of a gap right there, where you have this pivot is a little bit closer to the jaws on this pair versus the German Knipex. But additionally, we're gonna have the made in Germany Irwin. Whoop, if I don't drop them. Some guys might recognize these from a prior video. Yes, the tip is broken, but the rest of the jaw still works. These are gonna be made by NWS. I don't think they offer this product anymore. And additionally, we're going to have the Austrian-made Gedoras. So, as of now, as of current, these are one of my favorite pair of diagonal cutters. So, I don't know. I kind of have some interesting conclusions or theories when it comes to these guys. But, first up, we're going to cut something very easy. This is household coaxial cable. I cut it right out of my house. So I'm going to do what I think is going to be the worst set, is the Irwins. Now already you can see this pair pales in comparison in function, because holding the plier or side cutter just by the one handle, it does not fall on its own. As you can see, every single one of these other ones do that. So these are going to be a little different in operation, as you actually have to make the jaws open. I don't think that's a result of the damage at all. Just the tip is broken, like I said. But let's see how they cut. They also have a smaller, looks like that's also a 1/16 of an inch. So we'll see how it feels. And that feels pretty normal, pretty regular amount of effort I have to input there. Here's the Gedore, and that feels a little better. Still a little moderate effort required. And both of those cut cleanly, didn't leave any strands exposed or anything like that. So now we're gonna pull out and we're gonna go right to the Knipex. So very easy. Slightly actually easier than those two. The one thing I will note about these is that since they are so long, it kind of feels unwieldy to handle them. It feels like you have to open up your hand a little bit more to get the same amount of jaw opening that you would with a smaller pair. And that comes with the longer handles. But once you do get it on there, I mean, it's effortless. And just like all the others, clean, no strands exposed. So we'll try the Fujiya, and wow, jeez, that felt like it cut like butter. Hold on, hold the phone. Are the Fujiya's better than Knipex? Wow. And as you can see, look at that, no strands. It was just effortless to cut that. Effortless. Much easier than these. Compared to the Knipex, first of all, you have to get them all the way open. So this might be a little bit different. I had a smaller set of Knipex pliers or dikes or diagonal cutters, but I don't know, even if I get those all the way on a pivot point, it feels like it's the same. And you know what? No. The Fujiya just handles this effortlessly. And now we're going to switch over to something a little outside of the realm of what I should be cutting in this. I mean, maybe it is inside the realm, but we'll see how they handle. So, like I said, we're going to go in the same order and see if that holds the same holds true. So first I have to force these open. Effort, definite effort there. Very little effort there. This is actually higher effort than these. So I don't know. I cut the coaxial cable easier with these, and I think that's a little due to how far these open. But when we go to the Fujiya, and I expect this to, wow. it just lops it off of there with no effort whatsoever. Just effortless. Wow. Definite effort. Definitely took effort there. Definitely very much a lot more effort on these, on the Irwins, than the Gedoras. Very little effort on the KING KNIPEX, and these things just are almost no effort. My 2-year-old will probably be able to cut these with these. Wow. And I think that's going to boil down to the high leverage feature of this pair. So when you cut something and you get it very close to that pivot point, of course it's going to be easier. And a lot of this might be down to these being more worn, more used than the Fujiya set, but the blades on this pair is they're just so sharp. Now, when we move over to the Victor side of things, one thing that's abundantly clear is how much nicer of a product this is. But there's really only going to be 3 real main differences between this pair of diagonal cutters and the Fujiyas, with the first being this completely mirror polished chrome found on the entire tool. As you can see myself and the camera reflecting very clearly in that finish. The second being these 2-component black and blue grips that feel like they are going to be made of a very high density rubber or a soft touch plastic, which is going to give them a little more comfort over the Fujiya set. And the third being found down at the bottom of the grips, where just like the Fujiya set, these have holes at the bottom for a very thin lanyard string. But in addition to that, the Victor pair do have a hole punched or drilled directly through the end of the plier handle, where you can attach a more heavy duty lanyard if you so choose. As far as cutting performance is concerned, since these are essentially the same pair of diagonal cutters as the Fujiyas, cutting performance is going to be essentially the same, with the chrome plated variants having a little more effort than the Fujiya, simply because they are chrome plated and the blades of the regular Fujiyas are gonna bite into that material a lot nicer, due very specifically to the chrome plating found on the more premium pair of diagonal cutters and the vast temperature changes found in my service van. I mean, many mornings I will come out and find moisture and dew just hanging out in my toolbox. These are going to be the pair that I run exclusively in my service van. But with all that said, you certainly couldn't go wrong by picking up either pair of these beauties. The 700N-175 and the ZS80-175 are going to be able to be found on USA Amazon, unlike others have mentioned. I like the cutting performance, the high leverage features, and the mirror polish on specifically the more premium pair. I don't like how easily the wording found on the more premium pair wore off of the handle. It feels like when companies include something like that, it's definitely unnecessary. And I don't like the fact that neither one of these pair carry a warranty. So if that's something that dissuades you from these two, I guess you'll be looking elsewhere. I want to give a special thanks to Fujiya for actually sending me both pair of these pliers. As always, links will be in the description for everything I talked about in this video. If you like this video, make sure you get subscribed, drop a like, and consider checking out my merch links. But I'll see you in the next one. Peace!